Good afternoon. For the third year in a row, we're doing a video, Siegel says, here on the floor of HITEC in Austin, Texas. Richard Siegel, I'm here with Jon Inge, and this has been a very, very interesting HITEC. Actually, one of the best ones we've had in many, many years. Would you agree?
I think it's more a real-world grounded HITEC than some of the optimistic ones we've seen before. I think last year there was a lot of enthusiasm, rightly so, about cloud and mobile. Everybody was excited about doing that. This year I think people have actually tried it and have realized what actually it takes to make it work, and they're really focused on practical solutions instead of what Robert Cole called the bright, shiny object syndrome. Yeah. It's actually seeing how it works in the real world and coming up with some very usable stuff.
That's an interesting comment. Before we get into that, this year, for those of you who were not at HITEC, it was an amazing start to it. The fact that it was unbelievably crowded on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're here on Thursday, wrap-up day, an hour before the show is over and all. And talking to the vendors on the floor, I mean, just the energy from the people that were on the showroom floor on Tuesday and Wednesday was unbelievably strong.
Even back on Monday, some of the pre-show educational sessions are standing room only from 9 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. That's unprecedented.
Yeah, it was, and it's great because it gets everybody all excited and pumped up and all that, and everybody's going to hopefully walk away this year with just a great feeling about the show.
Right, and maybe an iPad too.
Yeah, but I think there were less iPad drawings this year.
I thought there were more, but I still didn't get one.
Were they iPad 1s or 2s or 3s or 4s? Or,
I'll wait for next year.
No, but that's part of trade shows. That's part of marketing. That makes for a great day. All right, well, tell me about, because you're the technology guy. You're the expert here. I mean, you walked around. Did you see anything that you thought was different, or are you going to go back to the whole grounded idea where, it's the real world today and it's not so much futuristic visions?
It's a mixture of both. A lot of people who've been working on cloud-based systems have prototypes here or early versions, very promising, need a lot of fleshing out to be really in production systems. At the same time, there's a large number of mobile apps. Everybody seems to have an iPad or a tablet of some kind on the booth with some new version of the product or some even new approach to an old problem. In some cases, maybe just because it can be done on a tablet and it looks cool rather than one that's integrated well into everything else. But the iPad or the tablet has definitely arrived as a workstation of great usefulness.
You bring up a good point, the iPad versus just a tablet. It was more and more companies provide, having tablets being introduced over the next few months and all that. Do you think that impacts at all what other vendors are doing? The fact that they might want to use different tablets than just the Apple?
No, I think the Android platform is obviously the major competitor, and its functionality is getting up to iPad levels now, and I think over the next year it's going to be pretty much equivalent. And I don't think it's really going to matter, except to the developers who have to come out with two versions.
Right.
But Apple has a very strong following. It's just not typically seen as an industrial strength commercial product. And I think there may be a third option we see coming out that's a more ruggedized tablet for commercial use, rather than just a straight off the shelf consumer iPad.
Okay. Give me an example of some of the tablet uses. I mean, we've noted that they're doing a lot more in the rooms, in the restaurants. Do you see anybody with the check-in features and all that?
Check-in, not so much. On the tablet, there's a number of people who have got downloadable apps to a phone that you can use to check in from the airport. You still need to pick up your key unless you're using something like OpenWays. But the more I've seen on the tablets has been along the concierge type functionality. People using the tablets for access to information about the hotel, local attractions, restaurants, maps. Again, there are usually versions for the phones as well, which is another thing I find interesting is the convergence of GPS technology with this kind of concierge approach. I saw somebody who had a guide to local restaurants. It could get you a map there. There was also a Get Me Home button, so it'd remember which hotel you came from and give you a route back as well. There's a lot of usability issues like that really being built in well. Very pleased with that.
Right.
There are still some others that are automating things for the sake of putting them on a tablet, and they would be much more useful when they get to the next stage of integrating them with the systems they need to talk to.
That's a good point.
We'll get there.
The other thing you brought up, and for those of you who were not at the show and you walk through the aisles here, you see a lot of make-believe clouds on over a lot of people's booths. I mean, have you seen, are you surprised how many people, I mean, we're all talking about the embracing of the cloud from technology providers. Were you surprised how many are actually promoting it so heavily here? Or
No, I wasn't really surprised at that level of promotion, especially after last year when it was really overhyped. I think there's still, it's the right technical direction to be going in. I'm not sure that hotels particularly care if it's in a cloud or just hosted somewhere off their property, but the cloud does have very specific advantages. Should we stop this while the PA's going? Keep going, okay.
It wouldn't be a video Siegel says without a PA announcement, drowning you out, right?
Right, but if the cloud is definitely the right technology platform to be on. But it has to be to the users, to the hoteliers. It has to have specific advantages, like in terms of a cheaper supply, cheaper pricing model, better support, better reporting. There has to be something concrete to make them care about whether it's a cloud or just remotely hosted.
Right.
And I'm seeing more people doing that. One of the other things I was pleased to see and was surprised at was the number of people who have started rewriting their systems from scratch to take advantage of more modern technology like the cloud.
Right.
I wrote about the three main ones I was aware of in the article, but I've come across at least three others I wasn't aware of who have taken time out and redesigned the system from scratch. Still here as with early prototypes rather than a working product, but it's a lot of people taking advantage of a new approach to clean up the code, make it more easier to test, better quality, more flexible, better integrated, all of the right things. So. Next year is going to be fascinating.
Yeah. But before we get to next year, we talk about it. So people that were not here, right? And obviously you talked about the different technologies that you think are prevalent or the wow factor, or whatever. What would you tell people that were not here and what they might have missed just by the whole HITEC experience?
Oh, other than the networking and just all the general.
It's a big part of it, the networking.
Absolutely, it's a big networking. Everybody is here. It's just. The first day of HITEC is almost impossible to actually see any systems because you run into so many people you catch up with them, you renew acquaintances, and then you get down to business and see all the new systems that are out here and the improvements.
So what do you think of the city of Austin?
I love it. I mean, it's a little warmer than I would like to live in, but
it was cooler than it was last time we were here and all that.
No, actually it was a breeze. We had a breeze at times, but the music, the entertainment, the ability to have hotels and entertainment close to the convention center, it's a great center.
Yeah, things like that actually create a positive vibe on the whole thing because the fact that the hotels are so close, and it's fun because you see people as you're walking through the floor at the trade show, you see people in the educational sessions, and then at night you're seeing them again, and all the restaurants, the bars, they're all in the same general area. I'm a big fan of Austin.
Right, it encourages the whole hospitality family thing. It doesn't matter who you work for this year, you're still part of the hospitality technology family.
Right.
And it's good to get together and celebrate that.
It really is. Okay, anything else you want to leave us with before we kind of wrap up our little...
No, a couple of minor things I thought were interesting from a couple of booths. One was what I see as the logical extension of the new approaches to guest room door locks. New vendor called Yikes, which is a memorable name on itself.
Right.
We're going from having to insert keys into a lock to RFID and open ways, which you can be within an inch or two of the lock, to what they're doing, which is using Bluetooth, so you don't even have to take your phone out of your pocket to unlock the door. You can just walk up and you can walk in. Another one was direction on green technology, which has taken a long step forward to usability, I think, with Verve using the N-Ocean technology to do door opening sensors, occupancy sensors that are self-powered. Right. No batteries, no wires, but they generate enough electricity from physical motion on the door or from photoelectric. Even the glow from the TV set will power an occupancy sensor, so it makes it really affordable to equip your room with energy-saving technology. And really cut back on energy use. I think that's a good direction. Yeah. The circuitry has finally got sensitive enough that you can do that.
Right. That's a good point, because some of the in-room stuff, and especially for, there's one of them that's really incorporating a lot of this newer technology.
They're a great new vendor to have here.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, any other words of wisdom you want to leave us with our little
No, I think HITEC is HITEC. It's the place to be. There's a lot of great stuff to see. It's a very social occasion and must attend every year.
Yeah. In the sessions that you were you
Yeah, I went to several of the sessions.
typically some good, some bad.
Yeah,
You know.
but always interesting to hear the real world experiences from people who have have tried this stuff and know how it works out in practice, and particularly some of the more thought provoking ones to do with data security, for example.
PCI was a big on Monday. They had a boot camp that lasted 2.5 hours. That was unbelievably well attended. I mean, it's hot. It's great that HITEC is what it is because it does get people to come in, and there are things that they just have to be aware of.
Right, and have to discuss in some detail with different viewpoints and to really get a good background on it. Yeah. It's a good show.
Yeah. So there were great sessions, great crowd, great city, and 3 days in the exhibit halls were fabulous. I want to thank you all for joining us for our 3rd annual Siegel Says live on the showroom floor at HITEC.
Thanks, Rich.